Hey everybody, it's Jenna. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you 5 easy, simple exercises that you can do if you're struggling with back pain. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because the 5th exercise is going to be something really unexpected, and I think it will help you a lot. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. If you're liking these videos, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like and the bell icon so that you're notified when these videos come out every week. So let's get started with the first exercise that you can do if you're struggling with back pain. Whether it's chronic back pain or if you've been recovering from an injury, these exercises will be appropriate for you. If you're recovering from something like a back surgery, then it's better you work with a physical therapist or work with somebody one-on-one that's really knowledgeable about exactly what's going on with your body. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started. You're going to go ahead and lay down on your back. So we're just going to start by gently scanning the body. You can do this with your eyes open or you can do it with your eyes closed. For some people, closing their eyes helps them to shut out the outer world so they can focus on the within. For other people, closing their eyes just doesn't feel good for whatever reason. Maybe it just doesn't feel safe for you to close your eyes, and that's fine. You can totally keep them open. But I just want you to take a quick scan from the head down into the pelvis. And just noticing what your body is feeling. If you're feeling discomfort, where do you notice that? What is the quality of that discomfort or pain? Is it tense, constricted, or maybe it feels like it's spread out, like it's stretching. Maybe it feels thick. Just notice the texture, the quality, the consistency of what you're experiencing in your body so that we can later on come back to it and see how things have maybe shifted. And I guarantee you, you're going to feel much better after this video. If there's a color to the sensation, you can notice that as well. A shape. What is there right now? How do your legs feel? Your knees, your shins, and your feet. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the level of your discomfort or pain? Just notice that. And if you're sensing different areas of your body, notice that as well. But today we're going to be focusing primarily on the lower back. But what's interesting is, say you're feeling a pain in your ankle, you may notice that you do these exercises and then suddenly your ankle feels better because through the fascial system, everything is interconnected. And so what we do to one part of the body is going to affect the other parts of our body. We're going to start with the first exercise, which is breathing. I know you didn't think it would be that simple, but it is. Breath is one of the best ways that you can turn off low back pain. So we're going to start with what I call lateral rib breathing. So this is a breath where we're really focusing on expanding the ribs side to side and stretching them like a balloon. So it is easier for us to expand our belly going up and down. So up towards the ceiling, down towards the spine. When cued, most of us have the ability to do that, although we tend to breathe more in our chest. However, most of us can do some belly breaths when cued to do so. What can be a little bit more challenging is breathing into our rib cage. If you watch how a baby breathes, they breathe 3-dimensionally on all sides of their body with their full breath, the fullest expression of their breath. So that's what we want to try to get to, is just becoming like babies again. So I'm going to help you learn how to do that. Go ahead and start by bringing your hands to the sides of your ribs. Take a big breath and really stretch and expand your ribs side to side. And exhale. Allow all the air to come out of the lungs. Again, deep breath in. Stretching, opening, expanding the ribs. You should really feel the ribs actually moving into your hands. So if you're a more visual learner, it would be like you have two bucket handles attached to the side of your ribs and you're gently lifting those bucket handles up and out. And that's creating that side to side movement or expansion of our rib cage. So one thing that does is it helps to stretch your diaphragm. Your diaphragm's attached at either side. That is your main respiratory muscle. And so when we expand the ribs this way, now we're getting a stretch where the diaphragm typically doesn't get to move. So another way that the diaphragm doesn't get to move usually is back, posterior, towards the back of the mat. So let's try a couple of breaths like that. Closing your eyes can really also help you to tune in. So if that feels comfortable for you and safe for you to gently close your eyes, try taking a few deep breaths into the back of your ribs now. Like you have two helium balloons on the back of your ribs. With each breath in, you're inflating and puffing up, expanding those balloons. So if that feels challenging for you to feel yourself breathing into your back in that position, I'm going to have you go ahead and come on up. I'm going to show you from the back so you can get a visual of this. Breathing into the back, expanding your ribs into your hands. What you might also notice here, I definitely notice it for myself because I have scoliosis. Some of you might also have scoliosis. If that's you, comment below. If you want me to do a video on scoliosis, I'd actually love to do that in the future. But see if you can feel the ribs actually moving back into your hands. And you can also liken that, if you're a more visual person, into a pump handle. That's more the movement in the back of your ribs. Okay, so wherever you are now, if you're in seated or if you're on your back, just take a moment and notice what you're sensing in your lower back now. If your pain in the beginning was a 5, where is it now? Just track that so that you can see how does this benefit you, which exercises are working for you, and how do you feel after. Okay, so laying on our backs again. So we did our breathing, and now as our second exercise that we're going to do for low back pain is called the pelvic tilt. That's more the physical therapy kind of language for it. It's also called the pelvic clock in Pilates, and there may be other traditions where it's called something else. I've heard it called a pelvic curl as well. So whatever you want to call it, we're going to imprint the spine and gently release the tailbone back to the mat with a breath. So we're going to take a breath in, exhale, imprint your spine, gently draw your abdominal wall to your spine as you do that, and roll your tailbone into the mat so that you gently arch your lower back. So if you're experiencing a lot of pain in your back, I would recommend making this a very tiny movement. And if you're noticing that you're feeling more pain doing this, then just omit it. Of course, don't do anything that's causing you more pain. So for some people, the goal of this exercise is going to be stabilizing. So really minimizing the movement in your thighs, in your ribs, and focusing on the movement of your pelvis. And so that could be one point of focus for you. Or it could also be the abdominal work that you're getting. So the scoop of the belly could feel really good because it helps to turn off the tight overworking back muscles through this principle called reciprocal inhibition. I won't get into all of that in this video. It's a lot of anatomy and physiology, but it really just means that when you activate one part of the body, the opposing muscular system will turn off. And that can be really helpful for pain. If your back is really hurting, that's why core work is so beneficial and so helpful for pain, because it helps to turn off some of those tight, overworking muscles of your back. You have muscles that you do want to really work that are good stabilizing muscles for your back. I mean, all muscles are good, but you also have other muscles that have just been working way too hard and they need to learn how to like calm it down, you know, tone it down a notch. That's what some of the back muscles need to do. Okay, so we're going to try that again, activating your lower abs. Even doing just that might feel really good for you. If you want to keep going, you'll arch. Exhale to scoop and curl. Inhaling to arch. I'm really trying to keep my ribs down. Let's do one more like that. And just focus on relaxing your hip flexors, your glutes, because you don't actually really need to be pushing from the legs. And again, we do too much from the legs, the quads especially. You want to relax those muscles and just be working those deepest, most internal muscles. They're the muscles that are the closest to your spine, and their job is to stabilize your spine. So we're just learning how to turn those muscles on. In last week's video, the 5 hacks to chronic pain, I talked more about how to activate your core. So I'll link that video so you can check that out if you would like more information on how to activate your core. But today we're focusing more on the exercises themselves so we can just get moving. Okay, so that was 2 of the exercise, breathing, the pelvic tilt, or whatever you want to call it, pelvic clock. A lot of different names for that one. 3rd exercise, my client told me today that this exercise really reduced his back pain and stiffness. A lot of people complain of back stiffness in the morning. One of the reasons why is arthritis is worse in the morning, but it also is from just obviously from lack of movement as you're sleeping, and maybe your mattress isn't the right mattress for your body. There's lots of different things that could be going on. But this is a nice way to mobilize your hips, and you'll get also a little bit of a stretch down your lower back. You're not going for like a huge spinal twist. I'm internally rotating one leg, externally rotating the other leg. I'm not trying to lift my whole body off the mat. So I'm mostly just keeping my shoulders down. I brought my arms out to like a V shape because that helps to keep my shoulders and my ribs more stable as I'm focusing on the movement in my hip joints. You should also feel a nice spiral from your ribs through your back and through your hip. But of course, if this feels like it's aggravating something in your back, then omit it. All right, so those were 3 exercises you could do. That last one I call windshield wipers. So now we're going to go on to the 4th way that you can help to shut off the tight, overworking low back muscles, thereby reducing pain, which is a bridge. And the reason why these bridges work is because you're activating your glutes. And when I come up into this position, my hamstrings, my glutes, and my lower back muscles are working. But if I can try to get my lower back, my glutes to work more, then my back muscles and my hamstrings can soften. They can shut off. They don't have to work as hard. Those tend to be overworking muscles. And then my glutes, which tend to be maybe a little lazy or underworking because we sit on them all day. They don't have much of a job to do throughout our day. If we're sitting a lot, then we're getting them to turn on, and that's going to help to turn off your low back pain. So I've been kind of demonstrating it as I'm talking so that you don't just get bored of me talking at you the whole time. But what we're gonna try is to break it down a little bit more. So this is what I call a baby bridge. It's just where you're kind of hovering your pelvis. I'm reaching my tailbone through my knees. I'm going for this hammock-like shape in my lower back, and I'm keeping my ribs mostly down. So that is a really nice way to work your glutes where you're not really straining your back. We're not arching our back big time. I'm trying to really actually tuck my pelvis under, so I'm going for a long lower back. So that I'm going for length in my lower back, like I'm reaching my tailbone up to the ceiling. And then I'm slowly massaging my spine down. This is really helpful if your spine is stiff, if you're dealing with arthritis, if you're dealing with something like a herniated disc or maybe stenosis. I wouldn't suggest doing rolling up and down. So everyone's body is so different. But if that's the case for you, and if this is feeling a little uncomfortable in your back, I would do a neutral bridge. It's just where you press your hips up and then bring your hips down. Press your hips up, push your heels into the mat. So if you're feeling your hamstrings cramping, and that's just because they're trying to dominate and they're trying to grab a hold for dear life because, again, your glutes are turned off and not doing their job. What I would suggest is coming up, and as you come up, squeeze your glutes, find your glutes, even just grab them, whatever you can do. Tactile feedback can be really helpful, but just see if you can feel those glutes working. So it's not all just going into your hamstrings. All right, so that was the fourth exercise. You could start with about 5 of those just to kind of play it safe and build yourself up to, anywhere from 10 to 15 of those bridges going up and down. So that leads us to we're already at the 5th exercise. That went by really quick for low back pain. So for a lot of us, our core is weak and our back muscles are tight. And so we're going to do a stretch for the muscles in our back. If you have a herniated disc or if you have osteoporosis, you don't want to do flexion. So you won't want to do this exercise. You'll omit this one. But if you don't have those things going on, then this should feel really good. You're going to have your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. As you exhale, you're going to push into your arms, round your spine. Inhale, and let's come back to neutral. So we're not doing cat-cow. This is called cow. That's arching your back. For a lot of people, that doesn't feel great in their back, especially if you do have stenosis in your lower back. You don't want to do extension. So that's why I would say neutral spine. Exhale, round. Inhale. Just come back to neutral. Play it safe. Exhale, round the spine. And back to neutral. And one more time. Scoop the abdominals in, really hollow out. Draw the belly button up and in as you round your spine, and gently roll your pelvis over your thighs as you return to neutral. Very nice. So we're just going to stretch back to a child's pose. Little bonus here, sinking your hips onto your heels and allowing your head to come down and rest. And when you're ready, slowly come back up. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bonus tip here if you've made it all the way to the end. Thanks for staying through this video. I hope your back's feeling good. And so the bonus tip is going to be stretching the muscles in the side. So that's your QL mostly, and the lats. And so there's a number of different ways to do that. The first way I'm going to suggest is sitting in a mermaid position, which is like a Z shape. You could bring your right leg forward and your left leg back. So if this is not comfortable for you to sit like this because it's bothering your knees, then I would suggest just doing this even in a chair. You can sit in a chair and do the same movement. So what we're gonna do is bring the right hand down to the side. The left arm is going to reach up and over, breathing into the side of the ribs, and slowly bring that arm down. Let's come up and over to the other side. And again, if this isn't feeling good for whatever reason, try it in a different position that does feel good. And just explore what positions of your body can you do without pain. Okay, so you can keep doing that one if you would like. But let's go ahead and we'll switch sides in the interest of time for this video. Left hand will come down. Right arm reaches up and over as you do a gentle side bend. It should feel super good. And here's where, again, we're sending the breath into the side of the ribs. As you inhale, float yourself up. And as you exhale, we're going to go up and over the other way. And inhale, slowly come back up. So we stretch the QL muscles, we stretch the muscles down our back. So let's just take a moment. You can lie down on your back if that's the most comfortable position, or pick another position that feels comfortable for you. And let's do another body scan to check in and just notice what we're feeling now. How does your body feel after that practice that we just did today? I was feeling some tightness and stiffness in my back from driving a lot, and personally, maybe I was like at a 4, and now I feel, I actually feel great. I feel like I'm at a 0. So hopefully that's what you're experiencing too. I trust that you're feeling amazing after that video. So just as a review, the first exercise we did was breathing into the ribs. The second exercise was the pelvic tilt. Third one was either a neutral bridge or the rolling bridge. The fourth one, we did windshield wipers to really stretch those fascial lines that are connecting the hips and the back, and also to mobilize the hips, because oftentimes if our hips are stiff and tight, then our back's going to be stiff and tight. And then the last one we did was that cat back position, so that we're stretching the muscles in our back, and through that principle of reciprocal inhibition, we are turning off those tight overworking muscles by activating our abdominals. I hope you found that helpful today. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell icon if you don't want to miss my future videos that I'm going to be posting once a week, sometimes more than once a week. So make sure that you catch that. And I also work with clients one-on-one and in groups. So if you would like more information about that, then there will be a link below in the description box. I also have a Facebook group where I do live streams once a week, and there's a lot of resources inside of that group. So there will also be a link below to that group. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.